do you feel like AI is diluting like the value of LinkedIn with just so much AI generated comments, posts, DMs? Like, what is your perspective on that?
Two parts. Number one is like AI is not the enemy, right? I mean, like AI in itself has so many good use cases. Like, I mean, like search is better because of AI. Like, we can do much more things because of AI. Like the technology itself is not the enemy. It's just lazy and bad usage of AI is what's ruining, the platform. And so I think definitely like if you write a post and you're lazy about actually like editing it and putting it out, and it's not actually helping people, there's no value in there, then like why are you even doing it?
This is Super SaaS Bros with Cory and Jayde. Let's jump in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Super SaaS Bros. I'm Cory here with your co-host Jayde, and today we have a special guest, good friend of mine, Nate. Nate is a husband, a dad of two amazing daughters, the master ghostwriter of LinkedIn. Nate, thanks for joining the call, man.
Damn, appreciate you, bro. And that was a killer intro. I didn't know you had that in you. That's crazy.
Well, thanks, man. I mean, I gotta give a killer intro for killer people. So, yeah, thank you, man. But it's awesome to have you here. One thing we like to do for our guests when we start is like, hey, you know what? You're taking an Uber to downtown for a night out. You get in the Uber asks you, like, Nate, who are you? What do you do? What are you saying?
That's a good question. So I don't like to start by talking about like what I do. Usually by telling about I'm a dad. I got two beautiful girls that I get to father, and based in Montreal. Love coffee maybe too much. Into coffee culture a lot. On a day-to-day basis, just ghostwriting content for founders and executive, and helping them with the go-to-market.
Nice, man. Awesome. And I'll maybe start with you because like you just mentioned it. But I know for a fact that you were, used to work at Deloitte, used to be a consultant, but now you're an entrepreneur. You have your own business. You have your own like LinkedIn ghostwriting agency. Like, how did you get into it? What made you go into that direction? And why LinkedIn?
Now, that's a good question. So for the longest time, I've had like, you know, the desire to build something. I mean, I grew up around that. Like, I have vivid memories of like me playing PSP on the Saturday while my dad was working at his office. So I would just go with them there, and then sort of watch him grind. I've seen him build this company from zero. So I knew that at some point I wanted to do something and I wanted to build something. But then I was sort of married to the idea of like building a software because I grew up in technology. At Deloitte, I was working in a tech strategy team. And as I try to build things and as I, was experimenting with different types of like technologies, the things that people were asking me for and asking questions about were LinkedIn. Because a lot of my go-to-market was like, using LinkedIn for reaching out to clients, prospects, and so on. And then people will come back and be like, hey, like, can you just show us you actually are using LinkedIn so that we can also, like do it ourselves. So it was a bit utilitarian, just listen to what the market wanted me to do. And that's how I ended there. I got my first client and then the second and third and fourth. And then, from there, I just sort of built this agency.
Super dope. Yeah, I mean, it's just that's exactly what we need to be doing, and I just don't think it's like preached enough. Where we just need to be like listening to customer feedback, and that's just like what continues to grow the business. So it's like as you continue to grow clients and talk with clients, and they come to you and they're giving you their feedback or what they want, like you just kind of iterate on that. Um, yeah, that's super dope. In terms of like what always gets me interested into like ghostwriters is like I always have the idea of like I want to be like the face and like in the front. Like what's your idea of like being the ghostwriter, being at the back of it, and just creating really cool content?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's good. I think it's actually such a cheat code, man. Because the way I see it is like I'm literally getting paid to get the best lessons that people have spent years learning in the world. And so the nature of the work is so that, I interview people, I interview founders and CEOs on how they built a company, sort of the lessons that they've learned along the way. And so I'm happy taking a step back. It's like free coaching for me, you know? And I
So
also really enjoy, I enjoy like interviewing people and talking, and I also enjoy writing, right? And so I see part of it is like helping people just articulate, stories that they can't otherwise, they don't have the time to. And so as long as if we're doing that well and we, honoring our client's voice, I'm happy to take a step back. No issues with that.
yeah, totally. A little cheat code to just get access to free coaching. Who would you say right now that, or you don't even have to tell who you said it, but I guess what's the best piece of coaching advice, or like, yeah, I would say like, what is the best piece of coaching advice you've gotten for free just by doing ghostwriting?
Dude, there are so many. There are so many, but the one that comes to mind is actually it's not necessarily a coaching advice, but it's something that I spotted as I talked to different people that did incredible things. So there was one like, like he's now he's a VC. He built a company, was acquired by Apple, and became venture capitalist after. And one of the things that's too interesting about him is actually like happy as a person. And as I talk to different people, like people have a CEO that told me, hey, I don't wish it upon anyone to be a CEO. So you have like these guy at the end of the spectrum. You have those guys that are just like enjoying themselves, and I was like, okay, like what's different there? And what I've noticed is like the people that are actually having a good time, and I are just having fun with the work. So they make sure that
Yeah,
is that there's an element of play, like in the
yeah,
work they're doing on a daily basis. And that was interesting to me because I was like, oh, you just do the work, like whatever it's hard or whatever, like it's not as important. But I think I'm just learning how to appreciate just having fun and just like having that portion of play and then just enjoying yourself in the work that you're doing.
That's so cool. I obviously I write a lot on LinkedIn as well too. I could probably utilize so much of the skills that you have, man. But like, I already run into like writer's block with my own writing, and you're writing for a lot of people. And so there's like it's a two-part question. Like one, how do you deal with the writer's block when writing for so many people? And two, like how do you like keep their voice in their writing? Because I feel like that's a hard one once you start having like multiple clients you have to write for. There's so many different types of voices.
it's a great question.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. I think on writer's block, like, I read this book, I think 2 to 3 years ago before like ghostwriting. I forgot the guy's name, but it's called Building a Second Brain. Super, super cool book. And in the book, they were talking about like how to organize your idea. So you have like, capturing what resonates with you, and then using that
Building a second brand?
a second brain.
Is it building? Oh, a second brain. Okay, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
look it up
yeah,
right now.
building. And so, like the author was talking about like just how to work and how to capture what resonates and how and then use that to just do whatever work you want. And so the capturing process for me is like really cool. It's really key. I just like have ideas on the fly and then just whatever like sits well with me and resonate. Like I just capture that. That way I never start with a blank page. But I tell you that, but also, dude, like I sometimes I just capture it and I just like, okay, I don't know what to write about this. So it just happens.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's one thing. So it just helps. But you might or might not deal with it. But that just helps. The capturing part just helps reduce just the writer block that you have. Second, for people's voice, I think the way that we have our process makes it easy for us to never run into writer's block for clients because since we run content interviews and come prepared with really good prompts, like we always have material to write off
Hmm.
of. Like we get them thinking, get them talking, and get their point of view right. And so because of that, then we're always good in terms of like writing content for them. And that's also how we ensure that we're keeping their voice because we're not inventing the content for them. It's like their ideas and their philosophies that we take and we sort of whip that into a format that works for LinkedIn.
Right. How often do you integrate AI into it? I know you just talked about prompts, but yeah, talk to me about
Yeah,
AI
that's
and
good.
ghostwriting.
Yeah, no, for sure. So the AI definitely helps with crafting the prompts for sure. Like, like a question, like, question could be, hey, like, tell me about a recent customer that was super skeptical about your product or solution, but that ended up being like a crazy case study, right? And they just ramble for a little bit. So I just like ideate with AI to be able to come up with those prompts as well. That's number one. Number two is like they'll also be used for a first draft. So when I start working with a client, we create a cloud project, And then within Claude, like, we just like do a deep research on them, their ICPs, blah, blah, blah. Our call recordings, which is be fed into that project as well, like their case studies, their articles. Well, okay, we have this like data about them. And then when we write, we just go in the project, right? And then like, sort of ideate. And you always have a human element, like somebody that just gets good writing in the end, edit the post and get it to the finish line.
Right.
So like, I'm curious though, when you just to clarify, when you were saying like you're using it to create prompts, the prompts that you are these questions that you're asking your client, like basically like
Yes,
you're
yes,
prompting your
yes,
client.
exactly.
Okay, okay. Because I think we were talking two different things. Or it's like there's prompting in like AI, right, which is like the
Oh,
system
got
calls
it,
and all that
got
sort of
it.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But cool. So you're using it to help like create the questions that
That's
get
it.
your clients to like think, tell their story,
That's it.
share a bit more, and then you're also using AI to like help like do like first drafts and all that sort of jazz. Cool. That's awesome. So like on AI, because Jade and I were literally just talking about this in our last podcast. So we both are big on personal branding. And Jade was like, "Yo, do you find that it's like diluting the value of the platform?" Um, and my initial, I won't even share my answer. I'm gonna let you share your answers. Do you feel like AI is diluting like the value of LinkedIn with just so much AI generated comments, posts, DMs? Like, what is your perspective on that?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. Two parts. Number one is like AI is not the enemy, right? I mean, like AI in itself has so many good use cases. Like, I mean, like search is better because of AI. Like, we can do much more things because of AI. So like, the technology itself is not the enemy. It's just lazy and bad usage of AI is what's ruining, the platform. And so I think definitely like if you write a post and you're lazy about actually like editing it and putting it out, and it's not actually helping people, there's no value in there, then like why even doing it, And I despise AI comments because it's like somebody took their time to like share like a thoughtful piece, right? And you can't even take 30 seconds to comment it. So I mean, it just doesn't help and like sort of reduces the community aspect of LinkedIn for me personally. But I do get though that some people also do it because they want to save time. There's no issues with that. But I just try to stay far away from it because there's just so much of it that people they just know now. Like you go on the feed, you can just smell it from a mile away, right? And to me, it's like if depending on what you're building and what you're selling, if the goal is actually build trust with people, and you do that, like that's the fastest way to like kill trust with certain types of buyers for sure. So my take is again,
Right.
AI is like great. Like we use AI in our workflow, like I shared, right? So like you can use AI, but just if you don't put in the effort of like sort of taking the output that it gives you on at face value and like sort of editing it before you share a piece of content, I think that's where it's problematic.
Right. So those rough first draft AI generated posts that you're talking about, are you concerned, like kind of back to Corey's question, that it is diluting the platform, like the value of the platform, like LinkedIn, for example?
No, for sure, totally. Like I think, if you go to AI and you say, "Oh, just write a post about like uh I don't know, custom dev versus off-the-shelf software." Uh and it gives you something and you take that and you post it, like it's useless because the goal of a personal brand is like, you have it's personal, it comes from you, right? And so you want to be able to make sure that like your ideas are honored in the content that you shared, and as well as like making sure that it's relevant for your audience. There's certain things that I hear in content interviews that are just sound bites that AI won't get because a client said that recently. But there's those stories that are very precious that just happened like last week that AI doesn't have the context about that. And so you want to be able
Yeah,
to sort of glean from those and then share them, not just rely on it to for the content.
totally. Cool. So, okay. So I want to talk about the impact that AI has on ghostwriters right now, right? Like your job, you're a ghostwriter, you have a ghostwriting agency, right? Um,
Mhm.
talk to me
Mhm.
about you and your Are there concerns around it? Are there not concerns around it? Do you think people are just going to go to AI and not hire a ghostwriting agency or a ghostwriter? Or do you think they are because you guys understand how to craft the right prompts, to ask the right questions, I mean, there's more to it than just writing the first draft or AI generated content because there needs to be human in the loop. Like, what are your thoughts around all that?
Yeah, that's good. We had a client that came, like, that we started working with, I think 2 months ago. He was using a lot of AI in his content, and he inbounded and like we started working together with them. So, he loves our approach, like, and he's happy with the content that we write for him. And so, to me, there is to a certain extent, right? Like, if a ghostwriter doesn't embed and try to understand and use AI in the workflow, it's a bit being in denial, because people are using it for their content. Like, you want to understand what good looks like, what bad looks like as well, so that you can sort of tailor your work to that. And number two, you just want to be able to make sure that your client understands that your value is way more exponential than what they'll get with AI. Like, your client is not paying, you know, you don't want to make your client feel like they're paying 50x what they will pay on Claude, but still having the same results. And so the way that you do that is by mining those stories, which is like part of the value that we add. And so to me, like, I'm not worried in terms of like our business, because just getting those stories out of clients and helping them think through their point of view and articulate their message, that's not going to go away. That's literally what like Deloitte is built off of, like my previous company, and they've been around for like hundreds of years, right? So that skill is not going to be replaceable. But there's going to be a point where it's just the AI is going to be really good at writing. There's no denial of that as well. And so to that end, I think just for us being able to work with it so that when that comes, we're using it first, and also we make sure that like we continue to help clients to just mind their stories and pair it with good AI to write.
How do you So, knowing you're using it, you're trying to make sure that you guys are like kind of first to using it, but like being very conscious about how you're using it. How do you get how do you get your clients to stand out in the sea of what is LinkedIn right now? Like, because I think that's a really can be a really hard thing. Is like being able to stand out amongst so many people, and maybe it's not about standing out. Like maybe it's just like about like providing the most value to a very like niche number of people, and that's maybe it. But yeah, how do you get them to stand out in their own fields on LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's a good question. And maybe that's going to sound repetitive, but to me, it's like their point of view that's going to make them stand out, right? And so right now, like one of my first advice would be like clients or people that I work with we're better off spending more time on refining their point of view and then getting that across than shipping a higher volume of post. Because there's just so much more content on the timeline right now and on the feed, that if you're just saying the things that people have been saying for a while, you're not going to stand out as much. You might just have a different spin on it. But if you just have a good solid idea and a good solid point of view that we can just help you mine and craft, that's going to stand out. So
Yeah,
we spend much of time there with clients.
right. But can the average person just do that with a Claude or a ChatGPT and help them mine it just by having the AI just talk back? Like I'm trying to make sure I fully understand the value proposition here. And maybe
Yeah,
it's just context because they don't have it, or maybe it's just the person doesn't want to communicate with the AI. Like they're actually so lazy, and this might be the thing because we're just getting lazier as a society because of the advantages we have with AI. But at the
yeah.
same, and maybe they don't want to just even talk to the AI to have it do the ghostwriting for them or do the writing for them because it's essentially what it is. But then I'm like, okay, so yeah, what is the value proposition right now that you are saying that you are bringing over AI?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think to me is like, and it might be hard to articulate it, but there's just a certain element of the conversation, like this conversation that we're having right now. We're pulling out stuff, and then like the follow-up questions that you're asking, like how do you know like what a good story looks like, right? So as I'm talking to client, like I have in mind, okay, I know what a good LinkedIn post look like. I know what like the themes that tend to resonate with people look like on LinkedIn. I know what sort of anecdotes we need to be able to like craft a good story here. So I would gear the question towards that. Uh, and if you sit with AI, or if a client sits with AI, they might not have an understanding of like, oh, this is good story writing. Oh, this is good, like, this is a theme that's validated that, would definitely drive engagement. Oh, like my ICP actually cares about that type of format. And so that context will inform the prompts and will inform the way that the conversation is held so that we can then go ahead and write it. So that's, like that's part of the value here, if that helps.
So you understand the definition of great, AI doesn't, essentially.
That's it. It sounds a bit prideful to put it like that, but I'd say it's definitely close to that for sure.
Yeah,
It
you
is,
know what
it is
definition of great does is you have the right prompts to be able to structure the right story because you know what a good LinkedIn post looks like. You know the right questions to ask. The AI might not, so you'd be able to capture essentially what a great post would look like on LinkedIn by asking the right questions, and the AI just might not ask the right question, the questions that you would ask, the quality of the questions that you would ask
for
to
sure.
get the right.
Yes, that's number one.
Got
That's
it.
one
Cool.
aspect of it. Yeah, but there are other
Yeah.
aspects of it. Yeah.
Like to give an example, like so I use AI in my LinkedIn writing workflow as well too. I think in a similar way, but that my benefit is that like I don't have clients that I need to like mine stories out of and anything like that. Like it's just me and my stories. But like Jade, even with that, like even building first drafts with that, I've given it my entire LinkedIn performance history with the
Yeah.
posts, the frameworks that are tied to each post, which
Yeah.
ones did really well, which ones can I rewrite. I've given it like a full master prompt of like don't repeat yourself in the last 3 months, like and just always pick a framework and then pick an idea for a first draft if I ask you to draft something. I would say 95% of my first drafts are not, I would never post it. And
Mm.
like it usually even then, like it takes about, I don't know, like 3 to 4 edits for me to actually get to a point of a good post. And
What?
even like if yeah, and even sometimes I ask him like draft me like 5 posts just to see. Like sometimes like if I'm in that writer's block, it's actually a great way to just like draft me 5 posts. I'll read through everything and maybe it'll spark something. Maybe it's a combination of those ones, but it's never ever been just that one. So yeah, I think that's where like the value prop is like it's definitely going to be like if you know how good what a good post is, even knowing all that, unless you're able to actually like really understand your story and then edit very well, AI is just it's not there yet on the writing side. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I agree.
but anyways, that was just my my little story on it at least. So but yeah,
Cool.
awesome. Nate, I want to just ask really quickly, like kind of like looking forward, um, where do you want to take Story Engineers and over the next like couple of years here? Like, what's your goal for Story Engineers?
And it's pretty simple, sort of boring, like just 50% year-over-year growth. That's sort of what I'm driving
There you
toward.
go.
That's it.
Nice. And one last question that I always like to leave people with is if today was your last day, what's one piece of business or life like advice you would want to leave behind?
Oh, okay. That's good. I actually want to hear your answers too, actually, if you don't mind. But happy to go first. I think you say one, eh? Okay. Um, I go with like I give you three very shortly because it's hard to pick one.
All right, let's
Number
hear it.
one, number one is just make sure to like just seek the truth and make sure that you try to leave as much you know um, by the truth as much as possible. Give more than you take because there's just much more joy in like serving people than actually taking things. And just try to enjoy the ride along the way. Just life is hard. It's just like give yourself time and space just to like have those moments where you just have a good time, be with your family and laugh and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome, man. I love it. I love it. I have nothing else to add. That's what those would be my three too, man.
Whatever, that's way too easy.
Seriously. I'd say dream bigger. You're not dreaming big enough. No matter how big you're dreaming, dream bigger.
Good, bro.
Love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Super SaaS Bros. Nate, it was great to have you on today. Thank you for sharing, everything about your LinkedIn entrepreneurship journey, and then your actual agency itself. You can hear us every week. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Leave us a comment, a rating, a review. We would 100% appreciate it. And then we will leave everything in the description on how to connect with Nate. So if you're interested in ghostwriting, if you're interested in getting better at LinkedIn, improving your personal brand, he's definitely the guy to reach out to. So we'll drop all that in the description below. See y'all next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Super SaaS Pros with Cory and Jayde. We'll see you next time.